All right, welcome to another episode of Gold Horns and Fight Songs. I'm Mike at Marrow4 on Twitter, and with me, as always, is Wes at Painted Bronco on Twitter. Wes is trying to basically get his stuff straight right now, so experiencing a little technical difficulties. But this week, there's not a whole lot to talk about in the NCHC world except for the World Juniors Tournament. And we're going to talk about the players that are from NCHC schools or commits to an NCHC school that are playing in the tournament. A lot of the players are for Team USA, so we'll be mostly focusing on them. But there is one goalie commit from Slovakia that is committed to Omaha that's going to be playing. Here, let me take a listen. I can hear you just fine. Don't make me go solo. I was not prepared for this.
Oh, there we go. I think we got it good now. I think we're all right. Double check. Wait for you to get it. Should only be a couple of seconds behind. It looks like I'm good though, based on my screen.
Good.
All right. So on the fly, problem solving, figuring shit out. That's how we do things here.
That literally is actually how we do things here. It goes well. Sometimes it goes great. Sometimes it's a well-oiled machine.
You know, you can have everything set up just fine, and then when you hit play, the whole world goes to hell. Like Mike Tyson says, everyone has a plan going into the boxing ring until you get hit in the mouth.
Well, yep, until that first punch is thrown.
Well, we got hit in the mouth, but we figured shit out. So, as Mike alluded to, going to be maybe a quick episode just to kind of keep talking about hockey because hockey's fun to talk about. We've got a lot of NCHC players on the World Junior team, especially for the USA. 9 total. 10 total NCHC players or incoming players playing in the tournament. That's really good for any conference, honestly, when you're trying to build something. And the NCHC has done a great job of this since really its inception.
You look at the few other college players that are playing in this tournament. I think 3 or 4 from Michigan, a couple from Vermont, then 1 or 2 Notre Dame, and 1 or 2 Minnesota. There's not. So Big Ten has 5 maybe, and Vermont, I can't remember exactly which conference they're in, but they have 2, and they're the only 2 players from that conference. So it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I'm trying to count up right now. 3, 4, 5. I see 5 Big Ten schools listed. Harvard has 1 from the ECAC. Notre Dame counts as Big Ten. Harvard has 2 players out there. Providence has 1 from HEA. And
Michigan
then, but yeah, I mean, if we're looking at conferences, the NCHC is the clear leader there. I mean, it's 1, 2, a good number of schools represented. 2, 3, I think 4 or 5 schools.
The majority of the conference is represented. Um,
6 schools, everyone but
eh,
Western and Nebraska. It looks like.
well, technically, you could count Nebraska.
Oh yeah, but the goalie playing for Slovakia is an incoming player. So yeah, Western's really the only player team without a representative here.
Proud of you guys.
Got to be different.
Anybody that knows you knows you're different, and that's probably that Western Michigan in you.
That's why I fit in so well at Western. But yes, let's get into it. Let's start with the UMD guys. There's a couple guys here. One, I believe, yeah, one forward, one defenseman, Wyatt Kaiser and Dominic James. And I think James really kind of appeared. He was kind of an underrated player. Didn't really appear a whole lot for UMD. It didn't seem like until the playoff push. And I think he scored the first goal for UMD in the NCHC finals. Had that one that went right over Bussy's shoulder and buried it when it didn't look like there was any room for it.
I believe it was him, and you're right. He didn't have. I believe he was a freshman coming in, didn't get a lot of playing time, and then slowly progressed his way into the role and started becoming one of the more dominant offensive powers in a or on a team that isn't quite so high powered, but they have a team effort. But he kind of emerged as one of the higher goal scorers on the team. And then with Wyatt Kaiser on defense, he came in and he was one of our best defensemen last year, even as a young kid. And he's proving that he's taken steps even further in this tournament with 2 goals in one game. I think that was the Swiss game. I can't remember exactly who it was against, but both these kids are impressing me, and they're moving forward. They're going to be leaders on this team for this upcoming year.
Yeah, I want to say they're both pretty young. Isn't James was only a freshman this year, wasn't he? Is he returning as a sophomore this year?
I think he's going to be a sophomore this year, and same with Wyatt. Um, Let me take a look at it.
Look at us doing things on the fly, guys. This is how we do. Problem solving, research, just do it all on the fly.
This is what happens when the season ends so long ago.
Kaiser is listed as a junior this year.
Okay, he is a junior. Okay, he's a junior, and Dominic is
a sophomore.
17 sophomore. Yeah. So they are young kids, and yeah, Dominic, he to get playing time as a freshman is pretty good, but then for him to get even more playing time at the end of the year shows the skill that he has and the work ethic that he has, because you don't just get put in that role on a team like UMD.
Oh, for sure. Let's stay in the state of Minnesota, but we'll go to the other team there at St. Cloud. Has Jack Pert as their representative. He currently has 2 assists and is a +2 player. Let's see what he is going to be this year. He's another defenseman. So I mean, they've got defensemen putting up points for Team USA, and I don't know that anyone's ever going to complain about defensemen scoring points.
And we'll talk about this more a little bit later, but just Wyatt Kaiser and Jack Pert, 2 defensemen, that is a solid pairing, if not one of the better pairings in the nation, because they are top defensemen on their team, even just being as young as they are.
Yeah, Pert will be a sophomore this year, so he was an incoming freshman. I'm not sure how much he played last year.
I'm trying to think of. He is from.
He's from Grand Rapids, Minnesota.
Okay, that's what I thought. He was from Grand Rapids. St. Cloud has a bunch of ties to Grand Rapids.
Which we have to be specific of, because I have a Grand Rapids and you have a Grand Rapids. He did.
Your Grand Rapids is just a lot bigger than our Grand Rapids.
He played in 32 games last year and had 17 points, 2 goals, 15 assists for the Huskies.
And just watching these kids all year, you see these names and you hear them all year, even though they were freshmen or sophomores. They're good for their names to stick in your mind. If they're good enough for you to remember their names and be like, oh yeah, they were pretty good. They're really good.
Oh,
So for them to be two of the defensemen, that makes me excited for this US team, especially on the back end.
I mean, at least they're on different teams when it comes time for NCHC play, because that a team having both of those guys would be ridiculous.
I wish it was our team, but you know what? We can't we can't have it all.
Let's see who we got now. Denver has a couple players as well. They have one forward and one defenseman. Their defenseman is Shane. Nope, that's Sean. I hate the way
Yep.
people spell names. Barons, I'm gonna guess is
Yeah,
the
yeah,
last
that
name.
that's what I was just gonna go with.
And then freshman standout from this year, who is on uh, my list a couple ways. One, because he's a really standout player for Denver, and a kid who you definitely pay attention to when he's on the ice. But he's also a Red Wings draft pick. So knowing more about that prospect as he goes through the system and potentially makes the Red Wings is his name's going to stand out for sure. Um, Carter is leading all NCHC players in points. He's got 4 goals, 2 assists for a total of 6 points. And Sean is one of the few players who are tossing up some zeros across the board.
Uh, Carter Mazer, he was, especially anybody that followed the Frozen Four, you heard his name a lot, and just in the plays scoring points. Now, yeah, it helped that. I mean, I could score points with Bobby Brink on the ice. You just have to be there. He was going to find you, but you still have to be able to put the puck in the net. Mine would probably deflect off my face or something and go in, and who knows, might make me better looking. Um,
Going with the old Dumba approach, huh?
well, yeah,
Pucks in
I
off your
was gonna,
face. Of course, that was an own goal, but I
well, you
think
know what? I think it was too. But they don't ask how, they just ask how many. So I would say I just ripped one from the slot. Uh, yeah, Carter Mazer, he's had a heck of a tournament, and uh, he's we were talking about this earlier, and he's leading the team in points for Team USA, and he's going to be a problem for every NCHC team this year as far as trying to stop him.
oh yeah, he legit seems like he could be in discussion for, if not the Hobie Baker, the top goal scorer in the country. I think he's literally got that kind of shot and that kind of hockey intelligence to make plays and find the back of the net. So it's going to be a name that everyone's going to know for sure.
And it does help. A side piece of news: their coach just signed an extension, so now he has that comfort knowing that his coach isn't going to get fired now. Why or move on?
Yeah,
Because there is no way they're going to, coming off a national championship the next couple of years. There's no way they were going to fire him unless he
decided to leave on his
murdered
own.
somebody or something.
Yeah, he's really it's really just going to come to him wanting to leave on his own and the right uh, offer being made, which really in college hockey it seems like the only offer that a lot of these coaches take is to the NHL or to the pro ranks. There's not so much the let's move to a different conference like there is in college football with college hockey coaches. So I mean, like you look at guys like Sandlin at UMD. He's been there like 22 years, 23 years. It doesn't seem like he really has any intention of going anywhere anytime soon, and he's built an incredible legacy there. So,
And he's been offered NHL jobs.
yeah,
He's always in the mix of people that are going to leave, and he just, nah, I'm good here.
I mean, even
And
we saw the North Dakota head coach Hextall. You know, the only place he went was the pros. Granted, he's on his second team now in the NHL, but he made the jump up. Even here at Western, you know, we had Jeff Blashill was here 1 year, and then he became a NHL assistant coach, became a championship winning AHL coach, and then moved back to the NHL. So, you know, if coaches are making the same kind of move that players are, it's to go upwards to the pros, and even then, it's certain pro ranks that they're hoping to get to. So, You know, Denver's got a good thing going. I don't really see them changing, and their coach is still super young, so he's able to kind of connect to these guys and pull a lot out of them. So it seems like a really good place for guys like Carter Mazer to continue to grow. And as unfortunate as it is to say that, it's a great place to be when I want guys coming to Western. So
Was their coach like 26, 27 now? Somewhere in there. I mean,
I
he
think
is a really good.
he's early 30s. I think I don't think he's
He's
much
a
older
really
than I am.
no. He's a really young guy, but it's just it is kind of funny. He looks like a young guy because he is.
Yeah, I think he. Well, I mean, he went straight from. I think he had an injury playing, and
Hmm.
had to kind of give up his hockey career at Denver, and I think they kept him on as like a grad assistant or an assistant, like a student assistant coach type thing, and he just kind of stayed with the program, and he's been there ever since, I think.
Yeah, I don't think he's been anywhere else,
Let's see,
and
he
he's
is
yeah. I'd be really happy if I was both Barons and Mazer
at the time
just
of his
to,
hire, he was 28 years old, and that was in 2018. So yeah, he'll be about 30. He should be 32 this year. He's 31, maybe going to be 32 at some point this year. Um,
well, that's kind of depressing. I enjoy doing this, but would I rather be making a lot of money coaching a college hockey team? Yeah.
mm, I'm quite happy with just being able to talk about hockey.
Oh yeah.
I'm not
And not
smart enough to
having
be a coach, so and
neither am I.
nor am I
And not having
patient
people
enough.
bug you.
But I'm gonna learn some patience here soon. Uh, but yeah, so I mean, I'm pretty sure that's what happened. He had some kind of injury or health issue that kind of cost him his playing career, but he's transitioned great into a coaching career and has a national title to show for it. So
Yeah, it's unbelievable how he's kept it going. So and yeah, the young kids, the freshmen with Mazer able to recruit kids like that. Like
from
holy
the state
cow.
of Michigan, which is another kick in the teeth. Anyway, so but Carter's teammate, or I guess you would say potential teammate down the road, current teammate, yeah, because they're both on Team USA, is another Red Wings prospect. He will be a sophomore this year, if I'm reading the Miami roster correctly. Sometimes it's hard to tell whether they've actually upgraded their roster or not. Western is still yet to update their roster. Is Red Savage from Miami. He's got 2 goals and an assist. He's sitting at a +5 right now. Another guy that, like, because he has ties to the Detroit Red Wings, which are my pro team, it's a name that I do pay attention to. But I'm glad every time we beat them on the ice because he's from Miami, and I don't, they can suck it every time we play them. So
He
if you're a Miami fan, I appreciate you watching, but you can suck it. But again, thanks for watching.
let's take about 20% off there, bud.
Oh, hey, look at you, Pop. You're delicious.
But Red Savage, he's another player that it's a little easier to stand out at Miami just because of the recruits that they pull in and the teams that they're having to battle. But he's another name that they would highlight in games last year when we'd play Miami, and he did, from what I remember, he did produce fairly well. I don't know what his final numbers ended up being.
I can check that right quick. But yeah, I mean, Scottsdale, Arizona kid, drafted by the Wings. Let's see, when was he drafted? 4-time NCHC Rookie of the Week. Tabbed co-rookie of the month for January last year. 4th round selection by the Red Wings. 6 goals, 10 assists. So kind of lower numbers really when you think about how much he was mentioned, but Miami as a whole struggled last year. It was not a great year for the Red Hawks. So I think, like, honestly, getting a chance to get some extra playing time and some extra experience playing in these tournaments like this and playing against some of the top talent in the entire world is only going to make him better, and hopefully make the players around him better too by trying to keep up with what he's able to do.
And playing where you're not one of the top 2 or 3 players that they can just focus on during a game helps to just to boost your confidence. Yeah, you're the guy, but you're also the guy and you have to carry the team where it's um just well, let's look at the NHL the past however many years. It's changed now, but guys going to Edmonton, Taylor Hall, Ryan Nugent Hopkins, Nail Yakupov. You're the guy. You're the guy. And they have nobody around them
Yeah.
where it's like, oh crap. And then you look at the teams that win the cup. Yeah, Ovechkin was a stud, but until he got people around him, they really didn't push for it. Crosby, they built around him. Kucherov, all the good teams. Yeah, you have your stud that's going to break out, but you have to have people around them so they can't focus on him. And so I think this is going to be good for him, and maybe gets a little more confidence and be like, yeah, you know what, I can score on the best young players in the world.
Yeah.
I can do it in the conference.
I think that just leaves Colorado College as far as from Team USA. They have a couple players. Hunter McCown, who played last season. Let's see what he did last year.
And there is actually one more.
And they also have an incoming goalie as well. I was getting there. Who is probably going to do some kind of competing for the starting job with Matt Vernon, son of former Red Wing Mike Vernon. If you didn't know that. Which I'm assuming if you were a Colorado fan that you did know that.
He did.
Roster, here we go. I remember his name being said a few times. But again, he is going to be a junior from San Jose, California. Well, he had a hat trick last season over Miami.
Saw that hat trick and OT winner.
2 goals plus an assist in a 5-4 loss to Western Michigan. I thought I knew his name.
Because he was making you depressed as you were watching the game.
And we won the game.
I know, but as you were watching it,
yeah,
you're probably like, really?
Yeah. Can he stop scoring goals against Western? Apparently scored his first goal against Western. Like, just stop.
Just don't make it so easy for him. I don't know.
Maybe if he would actually pick a major, he wouldn't be out here scoring goals as often as he is.
Well, it's Colorado College.
All right.
Great school, but if you're a hockey player, you don't really need a major. You just go score goals and, as of right now, make us suck less.
Exist as a player.
Yeah.
But another player who's gonna benefit from getting this extra time and playing against some really good players. Not that he doesn't anyway, because he plays in the NCHC. But truly to build that experience and bring that experience back to a team that has kind of struggled within the conference, I think has to be a benefit to make the team around you better.
I think you're going to gain some leadership from guys that have being able to play with guys that are at Denver, at UMD, at these programs that have been successful. And even, I think, Brock Faber, believe we just traded for him, and he's one of our top prospects now. We just got him. So having a guy that's drafted and regarded as highly as he is by an NHL organization, that should help just learning from them.
Yeah. And as we mentioned, they have incoming goaltender Caden Mbaruku. Mbariko. His name's weird. I don't. Maybe there's a silent letter in there that I'm not understanding.
Who does he play for?
He currently plays for the Lincoln Stars. He is an incoming
Oh,
freshman
there.
to Colorado College and is draft eligible next season.
I'm just gonna say Caden Barrico,
Yeah.
and the M is silent.
See, that's what I was thinking. But he currently, I think he has all 3 wins, or at least 3 of Team USA's wins. He's at a 93.85 save percentage with a 1.33 goals against, which are kind of stupid numbers in a tournament like this.
Yeah, and they haven't played too much of tough competition, but at the same time, I watched the US Sweden game and it ended up 3-2. It was not a 3-2 game. It was not even close.
I mean, they have 5. Well, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 preliminary round wins. So someone
Yeah,
else has got a couple of their wins because they
Germany,
a win and
Switzerland.
a loss in the pre-tournament games, and then everything in the tournament has been a win. And a couple of names that we mentioned coming over for the NCHC season have been players of the game. Red Savage, player of the game. Carter Mazer had a player of the game. Wyatt Kaiser, player of the game. So, I mean, like, the names that we're mentioning in the NCHC, they're making their name known on a worldwide status at this point with having excellent performances in these international games.
One player that I could definitely see being mentioned is the last one that we haven't talked about, Tyler Clevin.
Oh, yeah. I did forget
from
UND's
from
Tyler Clevin.
North Dakota. And again, he's part of that stacked. You have 2 just stacked pairs right there in the 4 defensemen. It, you know, throw whoever out on the third pairing and just let them play with Barons, Kaiser, Clevin, and Pert. It's unbelievable.
I think he got hurt at the end of last year, didn't he? Because I know they were already missing the player, the defenseman who signed with Ottawa.
I believe Clevin did get hurt.
I believe he did get hurt right at the end of the season. It was either hurt or suspended, and that's why he didn't play against Western in the NCHC semifinals.
Maybe it was a.
I think he actually got suspended. I think he had a
I
game
think so.
misconduct against Colorado.
Yeah, I think he did have a game. There it is.
But Jake Sanderson is who I was thinking of, that went to UND and then signed with Ottawa this off season. So yeah, they were they were missing probably one of their 2 of their top defensemen, and it definitely showed with their struggles against Western in the frozen faceoff, and kind of struggled even in the NCAA tournament against Notre Dame. That was a fun series to try and figure out who was playing who, UND and UND.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm looking at an article from him getting suspended in right around Valentine's Day, and he's hitting a kid from Omaha, and the kid from Omaha is parallel to the ice in the open ice, and it is absolutely hilarious.
Yes, he was. I believe he was suspended. Yep. Without Jake Sanderson and Tyler Clevin, UND power play did not produce, and their 4-2 loss to Western, which is fine. It's okay. It's good. It's great. It's grand. Great. Dandy. So yeah, I mean, if he's really just kind of got to keep his checks to the right places and not get too emotionally imbalanced and play the right way. And he's a kid who can definitely make his presence on the ice known.
And you see it in a lot of different players. They come in, they're younger, they want to make an impact, and they don't quite have control of not necessarily what the rules are, but what they can do and what they can get away with. Uh, it, to bring football into it, a perfect analogy or comparison, I should say, is Harrison Smith, safety for the Vikings. When he came in the league, he got so many flags, and I think he got kicked out of a game or two because it was like you can't do that. You maybe could have done it in college, but you can't do that here in the NFL. And now he's one of regarded every year as one of the best safeties in the league because he figured it out. It happens with all these players that are they can throw the weight around. They play hard. They play right on that edge, but they just haven't quite figured out where that line is that they can't cross.
I kind of expect him to end up being a member of the Ottawa Senators here in the not too distant future, as apparently they have a pipeline from Ottawa to North Dakota. Ton of guys going that route. Texas
Winnipeg missed out on that.
Texas signed quite a few guys too from UMD, I think 2 years ago, but there was like 3 or 4 players that all signed to Ottawa from North Dakota the last couple seasons. Like, it's ridiculous.
Dallas has kind of the same thing with UMD because Niskanen was kind of the first guy to go there, and then they had like 2 or 3 off the most recent national championship team that went down and were with the Texas Stars. It's like, okay, well, yeah, I guess there is a pipeline down there.
And then the final player is an incoming player to Omaha from Slovakia, goaltender Simon Latkozy is how I'm going to say his name. Whether or not that's right, I don't know. It looks like he has played some time in the USHL. He's currently does not have a win for Team Slovakia. I think they're struggling in the tournament.
I believe they're out of it now.
He had a 8.661 save percentage, was giving up 5.53 goals against. Not great by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't imagine that Slovakia has the greatest team in the world, and that might have something to do with it.
Yeah, they lost to the Czechs 5-4. Then they had to play Canada, and that was 11-1. Then they actually beat Latvia 3-2, who beat the Czechs 5-2. But their final game was against Finland, and that ended up 9-3.
Yeah, so some struggles, but there's probably some opening in goalie time for Omaha, and I don't know that I necessarily would be surprised to see him be the starting goaltender for Nebraska.
I wouldn't either.
They lost Isaiah Seville. He left after this last season. Unless they're expecting the backup to kind of be that number one starter and him to kind of come in and learn the college system. But if you have a backup, on your team who is literally just in the world champions, like, it must be your starting goalie better be incredible. Because for me, it would honestly be hard to say no to that kind of experience level.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and I think goalie's kind of one of those positions where experience says more and performance says more than just like how well they get along with the team type of thing. Like, I like to see how teams mesh, but I think goalie's kind of one of those positions where you can base how well they're going to be for you on their stats and the way they've played before. Now, granted, you want them to get along with the team so that defensemen are trying to help them out and clear pucks out and eat a couple of those shots so they don't necessarily have to see 60 shots in a game. But
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's tough to tell sometimes when you're looking at games like these with a team that's not up to snuff, say when they're playing Finland and Canada. Yeah, you face 60, 70 shots in a game and well, you let in 11. Well, hopefully your coach pulled him. The Canadian game, it looks like he went in relief. Uh, he still had 15 shots. He let in four, 75% save percentage. But at the same time, you have to watch the game and look up how many high danger scoring chances the team is giving
Yeah.
up. Uh, if they scored 3 out of the 4 goals on the power play or just from in the slot or 2-on-1s, then yeah, you got to cut him a break. He's not going to stop everything. Uh, but yeah, hopefully facing that many pucks in that high of level of competition, hopefully he has a chance and can do some good for Omaha.
I mean, honestly, I don't know really. I think it's got to be an open battle. Like I said, really the only downside is maybe you want him to get a little bit more, kind of like Trevor said, get used to being a student before taking on the extra responsibilities of being a student athlete or an
Mm-hmm.
athlete student, depending on coaching philosophies. But like I said, with that kind of experience and in a conference that is this difficult to win single games in, you might want to all the experience that you can get in your starting goaltender. So I would assume that he has a pretty good shot at being the number one goalie there in Omaha.
And Trevor did put it very well with the sitting a year and just learning how to become a student, especially coming over from he's playing in the USHL, but and so he's kind of learning how things work. But coming over from another country, um, and just getting that college lifestyle down, it's different than juniors. It really is because they're playing games on the weekends still, but they're playing a lot more games on the weekends, and they play some during the week, and then they're just doing school from home. They're not actually having to show up in class because they're on road trips. It's just a whole different lifestyle that you'd have to get used to. And you don't have a billet family to take care of you. You actually have to take care of yourself,
Right?
which I'm still trying to figure that one out.
Yeah, me too. Uh, that's only going to get more difficult. But yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up the conversation on uh, players that are playing in the World Juniors from NCHC schools. One last thing before we do sign out is congratulations to a couple former Broncos, Trevor Gorsuch and Matthias. Nope, that's the wrong person. Matheson Icapelli. Both have been announced that they're coming back to the K Wings for another season of ECHL hockey. So that awesome for both of those guys. And hopefully Trevor will pick up some more great stories that he'll be willing to share with us on his future appearances here on the show.
And also awesome for him that his assistant coach that is also his goalie coach was signed on to be the head coach for the K Wings. So you know, hopefully, I'll say this. Hopefully, Trevor isn't on the K Wings for too long because he's moving up because uh, his head coach is even helping him more and get better, and he can move up in the ranks.
Yeah, maybe he can make that Jordan Binnington rise. Binnington's, for those who don't know, Jordan Binnington, former Stanley Cup champion with the St. Louis Blues, actually played some ECHL hockey here in Kalamazoo for the K Wings. So hopefully something
And
along those same lines can happen for big fan of my, or I'm a big fan of his. He is a friend of the show, Trevor Gorsuch. So fun facts for the hockey world that only come to you by people who are nerds like this guy. But I think that's going.
nerd.
Yeah. Uh, Actually, I guess we can announce that we're going to take the show on the road in November. Plans are to go to the rematch from the NCAA tournament opening round, as Western takes on Northeastern this time at Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, Tennessee. We should be there.
Yeah. Somehow Wes has decided that he wants to put up with me in person, so we're gonna go hang out in Nashville and watch some college hockey.
Spent 16 hours in a car in 3 days. Let's go.
Make sure your windows work.
I'm gonna drink all of the milk. Uh, but yeah, I think there's only really one thing left to say, and that's pucks on net, good things happen, like goal horns and fight songs. Until the next episode,